Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next level and welcome to the Sega Mega Master show again. We have our usual fine panelist of Sega geniuses or geniusi, however the plural is for it. We've got Viraj.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Back again.
We've got Rick.
Hello there.
And we've got Steve-O.
What's happening?
And, of course, my good self. So we're going to get straight into it. We've got Viraj. It's his choice today of game, and it's Bonanza Brothers on the Sega Megadrive.
Boom, 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 boom. I think it disappears because of the background I got. But Bonanza Brothers is a Sega Megadrive game that I'm very fond of. This is the one that I've chosen because we all choose a game. This is my choice, actually, this particular time. It's a game that was developed in 1990 as part of Sega's System 24 arcade board. So it was actually top-notch arcade game. I don't remember the arcade game. I have played it since, but this was my first way I've played Bonanza Brothers, the Mega Drive release, and this was a 1991 game. So yeah, it's relatively quite a faithful port to the arcade version if you've played it. But yeah, it was developed by Sega internally, and it's a co-op game where you can either play a co-op game, you play two player, or you can play one player. And you can play as one of the two brothers, Robo or Mobo. It's a game that my father got me as a boy, and it's a game that I'm very fond of because I have a younger brother, and when it comes to playing Sega games, even though I like to play alone, I'm typically a single player guy. But when you got a younger brother, you got to share your toys, right? So I had to play. So this is a two-player co-op game I played with my younger brother. And it's quite fitting because obviously my brother, those of you who don't know, he's quite short, you see. So he'd always play as this guy and I'd play as Mobo. So you're the little one, you'll play a two, all right? And that was fitting because he's a right short ass, my little brother. Anyway, I had a lot of fun memories playing this game with him when we were growing up because unlike the previous games reviews, it's quite straightforward. It's actually quite an easy game. I'm sure you can all agree, guys, it's quite a straightforward, easy game. Obviously, if you're going to play this game, hard mode is the way you want to play it. Because you'll beat it easily on easy and normal. Hard mode is the challenging mode you play it on and you beat it through. It's 9 levels long, and basically the gameplay characteristics is you play as these two burglars. That's the synopsis, and you've been charged to the task is to rob all these places. Like you've got a company, you got to rob, you got to get all the items in every level, and then you got to exit on the roof, and then a Zeppelin will take you away. That's basically the premise of the game. You just have to rob everything. So you've got like a jewelry store, you've got a bank, you have a mansion that you have to rob. So you have different scenarios and a casino even. So you have different levels, which, and every level gradually gets harder as it goes along. But yeah, it's quite a simple game to get into. The graphics are very unique for the kind of game it is, and you'll see with the gameplay footage that we'll have playing here. That it plays in a very interesting split screen fashion if you're playing two-player mode, and it still retains that split screen aspect even on one-player mode. So sadly, the one-player mode isn't a full screen, but either way, it still fits the game fine because that's the way it was designed. But yeah, that is pretty much Bonanza Brothers in a nutshell. So that's pretty much me introducing the game. This is like I said, this is my initial memory. It's a game that I played with my younger brother as well, so I have fond memories of it. What about yourself, Dan? What are your thoughts on this game initially when it first came out and your first experiences with Bonanza Brothers?
Yeah, so I didn't play this in the arcade. I'd read about it in magazines in the arcade, never saw it in the arcade. A few of my gaming journalist heroes were really struck on this game. They really liked it. So it was different. You know what I mean? I like my badass games. You know what I mean? I still do. I want ninjas. I want Shinobi. I want Streets of Rage. I want to kill people. Basically, I enjoy killing people. It's fun. But Bonanza Brothers were like, oh, it's a bit stepping into Nintendo cutesy territory. I was a little bit, I'm not sure about that. But I tried it out and I liked it. I wouldn't say impressed by it. I was just charmed by it. I believe it's a very charming game, and
it's different.
Good choice of words.
Yeah. It was one of those games that, as a kid, it never really struck a major chord with me. But it was nice. It was just a nice, pleasant game, especially, like say, as it were multiplayer. So that was pretty much my initial thoughts of it. What about you, chaps? Rick?
Yeah, I don't really have any past memories of this game because I really didn't know about this game until you guys said that we were going to review it. So I had to look it up.
That's why we're in the shades here. We're in the shades. We're all criminals here. We're all crooks. That's the theme today. But go on, Rick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. That's okay. So I checked it out, and I probably had heard of this game, but I'll be honest with you, this is not the type of game that I would have gravitated towards as a young man. If I had seen it in a magazine, like a picture of it, I probably wouldn't have given it a second look if I saw a screenshot. Yeah, just to be truthful. But I checked it out, and it's a pretty neat game.
Right.
Cool.
I don't want to look at it as a platformer, even though it is.
It's a side-scrolling action game. I call it an action game.
Yeah, I'm dead on with you, Viraj. They're dead on, mate.
There are platforms you jump on the game, but nothing like you fall into a ditch and die kind of thing. It's definitely got stealth elements to it, Rick. It's a stealthy game, and there is a strategy to it as well. So it does involve a degree of thought and intelligence playing it. It's not like, even though kids can play it, I do think that there is that aspect to it, and I think it's unique. That's my first impression of it. There's no other game quite like it I played, so that's what I like about it.
Yeah. I can't say that I'm really that the artistic style really clicks with me very much. It reminds me of like a children's toy, or something like that. Maybe something that like Little Tykes would make. But it's cute though. It's whimsical and charming, like Dan said. So it has its own style, and I can appreciate that.
Rick's like me. Rick's a closet serial killer like me. So
well, he does have an ominous look. He does look like I'm not going to go down
stuff like that. We're real life Bonanza brothers, aren't we, Rick? We're at
I refuse to answer on the grounds that it may incriminate me.
I think there's a Bonanza brother in all of us. We've all done something.
What about Steve? Let's get Steve's memories on it. What were your memories of this, mate?
This is my childhood copy of this game. You know, I've had this for 30 some odd years at this point. You know, I was a little old maybe for this game when it came out, but I liked games like Prince of Persia, where I liked when I was a kid with Atari. I loved Maze Craze. You know, games like that where you have to try to make your way through something strategically, figure it out. Figure out where not to step and where to step, and where everything's hidden. I kind of like games like that. This isn't like the kind of thing I probably fire up with my boys. I just kept this for myself and played it once in a while. Maybe once in a while I might have played this with my sister if we weren't like trying to kill each other, like we normally were. But yeah, man, I thought it was a good game. It's cartoony, it's obviously geared towards a younger crowd than I might have been when Genesis came out. I was a teenager, at that point in time. I wanted to play Zero Tolerance, and I wanted to play more Streets of Rage and stuff like that. I like those kind of hardcore games. I loved RPGs. I loved playing stuff like that. This has some kind of elements to an action RPG in it a little bit, I would say, mixed in with a platformer. Like Prince of Persia is probably like my best analogy towards what this game is about. It's just like a cute version of it, like a more of a kiddie version that it might be a little bit easier for a younger kid to make their way through. You get to that pyramid level, man. That starts to get pretty difficult. Like you gotta like watch where you are. You gotta jump in certain spots. If you like get just too close to that pit, it opens up and you fall through and you die. You know,
I've got to say, even though Virod said it's an easy game, and it is overall an easy game, it's got a challenge to it.
It does.
There's enough lives there, and the way it's set up, it makes it so you can learn it easy, and so that you can. There's a buffer there with the lives and the setup. But as like you say, Steve, you're not just gonna thoughtlessly button bash your way through this game. You do have to put a bit of effort into it.
That's correct. I mean, yeah, it does require a technique, and from my perspective, it's different from you gents because I was 7 years old when I got this game. So for me, the learning curve was steeper than you guys. So even on easy or normal mode, I'm like, okay, I have to. Obviously, for me, analyzing and problem solving because there's different villains in this, or different enemies in this, shall we say? So you got the more cop guy, haven't you? He's easy to take out. He's got no shielding, nothing. You just have to shoot and get out of the way, or jump over the bullet that he shoots at. You can jump over the bullet or whatever it is and get out of the way. Then you have the one that's always the tough one is you get the guy with the riot shield, shall we say, the riot police. Yeah. You've got the truncheon. You got one with the truncheon and one with the gun. Okay. And they both behave a little bit differently. You can actually jump over them and shoot them from behind if you're on like an easier mode. But if you put difficult mode, no, it's a bit different. But yes, the idea is, and then you've got the guy who chucks the bombs at you that looks a bit like Rick. But yeah, you got that guy. You got him, yeah, and he takes 4 hits to take down. All right, and he's a bit dangerous. And if you get up to him, he'll just uppercut you, take you down. So learning that as a child, that was like, oh great, I died. Oh great, I died. But the game just kept you coming back for more because you want to know for me the drive was, what's the next level going to rob? Like, what are we going to rob? What's the next one I'm going to rob? That was the motivation. All right, we robbed the company. We robbed the millionaire's mansion. Oh, we're in the casino now, or whatever it is. The mint. We're going to rob. Like, what's a mint? I didn't know what a mint was as a kid. I learned what a mint was when I played that game. A mint is obviously where they produce money for banks. So it's a place where they manufacture money. That's what a mint is. So I actually learned something as a kid with that game. But I mean, it's got you talk about the levels, mate, and it's probably got one of my favorite levels in any game, which is the Sega Art Museum. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely brilliant.
Going through that Collins is on one wall. There's all kinds of like little
altered beasts.
Yep.
Yeah. You've got Space Harrier there. You've got Shinobi represented there. It's like all their hits were out there, and they had their little. And it's only years later did I realize, hang about, that's Phantasy Star 2. That's from this game. That's from this game. And like, oh great, okay, wow, they actually did this, and it's an exclusive level just for the Sega port. So as I mentioned earlier when we started talking, this is obviously based on an arcade game. Arcade game has bonus levels. It's actually the full version. It's the best version. It's 12 levels long. But the 9-level version, Mega Drive version, is a nice game for what it was, and it's okay. Granted, it's a watered down port, and it doesn't exactly match the System 24 arcade. That's the graphics on the arcade version was enhanced compared to the Mega Drive, and obviously Mega Drive is built on System 16, but it's a faithful representation of what the developers were doing for the System 24 engineered arcade version. There are better like arcade ports, but this is actually a decent arcade port for that game, and it has its own unique exclusives, which is what makes it special and worth buying and playing today.
Definitely.
Yeah, like you said, the Sega Museum, I like that level because I'm like, oh wow, okay, because we're all Sega fans, we like this.
It's just a lovely touch. And it's done really well. I think the way that it's done is really well. It's not too. There's a little mystery to it. You know, it's not in your face like it's Sega. But I mean, this whole game, I love how they've got it's called. Is it the Ages Museum?
Yeah, Ages Museum, Sega Ages. Yeah, and that's the birth of the became. Yeah,
and it's got all the little touches that just add a lot of flavour to it. So what's your thoughts on it now, then, Viraj?
You know what? I mean, I played this actually a few weeks ago before I even mentioned the game because I thought I've beaten it on easy and normal. I got this Sega Astro City Mini, and it's on the arcade version. Is that, and I beat that, and it inspired me to play the Mega Drive version again. And the Mega Drive version is actually on the Sega Mega Drive Mini 2, guys, or on the Genesis Mini 2, so you can play it there. I would say that. Does it still hold up? I think that's the question. I think the short answer is yes, it does hold up. And I have to... It is easier as a grown-ass man playing this game. As a kid, it's a great kid's game. It's a great game for a 7-8-year-old to sort of learn how to problem solve, learn how to be stealthy, learn how to get all the treasures before the time runs out. And obviously, you can make it harder if you see yourself, because when you go to normal and easy mode, normal and hard mode, you're making the timer reduce. That's all that's changing in the game. Maybe the AI is a bit harder. I can't tell. But the time is definitely reduced. And obviously, you have to get through the stages before the time runs out. And that pyramid stage on hard mode, goodness me, I don't know how, I think you've got like 2 minutes to get through it all. And that's hard. Okay, you are stressed. Like, you fall into that ditch, yeah, forget it. You know what I mean? So, and obviously you can reduce the number of lives you have. So you can adjust the challenge. So even though we say, okay, it's easier for us now, elder, you reduce, you make the challenge on extreme when you're our age, and that game will still hold up, and you'll still get a challenge out of it, and you can still get game over and lose the game. And that happened to me when I played this all these years on the hard mode and the extreme difficulty. It's only when we did the purpose review I thought, no, I'm going to beat this game fully through and through. And I did it, and I'm proud that I've actually beaten this game through and through. It's not the hardest game in the world. Obviously, we played harder games for a review on this. I love, look, first of all, the graphics. Yes, they're not as good as the arcade version, but I like the unique art style that it has. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love the fact that I think somebody said in a recent forum group that it looks like Lego on the box. Obviously, our box art's a bit different to the American one. I actually like it. I like the sort of style they were going for with that, and I like the fact that it looks very different to a lot of the Megadrive games, is the way the graphics look and how it plays. Also, it's a lot more fun. The game has double points because of the co-op mode on it. The co-op mode makes it so much more fun. I can't really give it a fair assessment. It is so good that it's a co-op game. Now, the only critique that I really have on this game, and it's the same critique I'd say with Outrunners, which is you've only got like the lower portion of the screen if you're playing single player. It'll be so much better if you just made it like you had the whole screen on one player. But I think obviously because it's an arcade port, and the arcade port's the same thing, obviously the second player portion is there for another person to tune in and play. So it is an arcade style game. What I also love about this, which we haven't mentioned, is you've got a little map as well of that in the middle of the screen as to that level that you're going through. And you can't cheat. Like if you press the pause button, that map turns into the pause. It says pause. So you can't just look at the map and analyze it. You literally have to look at the map while you're playing. There's the challenge there, isn't it? It's not as easy as it looks. So there's that to be said. In terms of the difficulty curve, yes, it does have a nice steady curve, because every level has its own challenges. They introduce new little things, such as like you've got little cans you can trip on and you can alert the police and they'll come after you. You also have like sections where you got like lots of police in a certain area, and you really are like literally having to jump over bullets and hide, and then quickly come out and then shoot, and you have like a little Mexican standoff, with them. And there's also the level. I think it's the level with the labs where you can actually use one of those. I don't know if you remember. You go into a crevice, you can put like the little helmet on, shall we say? So when the cop comes near you, you always put the mask on. So the cop is stupid. He doesn't realise you've actually put a statue mask on or whatever. Which I think is very clever. So there's little gimmicky things in there, but I think it's interesting how every level is different. I think the mint level where you can crush them, there's a tool where you can crush the bad guys as well with the switches. So they keep the game fresh. It's not boring. It's not boring by any means, because every level is different and there's always something new. I think the cruise liner level 8, because the way it's designed, you end up going back on yourself, and it's like a maze trying to get all the treasures before you can get out. So there are some levels that have weird design, but why they're designed in that way to make the challenge a bit more difficult. So analyzing this game, these are just points that come to mind. Analyzing this game, I really liked it. Another critique I would have is you only got 3 musics in the game, or is it 4? So there's not every level. They might repeat music in there, and it would be nice if they had different tracks. I like the music in this game. It's quite funky. I like it. It's quite funky.
So I think the quality is good enough to carry. I think it's a valid point, but I never get to a stage and think to myself, I'm getting bored of the music.
Okay,
it feels familiar, but because it's all good and it's sectioned all right, I think it gets away with it. But it's a valid criticism, mate, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they had some more, like maybe a couple of tracks. I don't mind them reusing the tracks, but it'd be nice if they had like an arabesque tune for the pyramid level, it's the last level, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's a minor gripe. I really like this game today. I still think it's a very good game. That's what I think. I really like this game. So, what do you think, Dan? What you're now going? I've said what I've had to say. What are your thoughts now today about this game?
Yeah, I don't think it's aged at all, really, because of the strengths of the game still hold up a lot. I think, like you said, the emphasis on memorization and timing over skill make it perfect for playing with either partners or kids. I play this with my wife. and it's a laugh. Basically, it's just a novel laugh. And I think, like you say, there's a big difference between it being a one-player game and a two-player game. That split screen can be a bit annoying in one player, but so as a one-player game, this is like a nice-ish game to put on now and again. As a two-player game, it's a good giggle. It's a nice giggle. It can get very chaotic, especially in two-player mode. Once you drop a bollock and you set what the guards off, or you misses. When you misses sets guards off, and you're like, "What are you doing? You fucking hell, what's going off here, woman?" You know what I mean? And you're running around and all that, and it's a good laugh that. But I will say, in one player mode, this is fun to speedrun. It's got a really nice flow.
It's a good 20 minutes. It's about 20 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's got a nice flow to it where if you're going for a tight time on a difficulty level, it feels quite pressured. So I quite enjoy that aspect to it. And I like I say, all the cool environmental interactions you've got are really novel. So to me, this is a very novel, cheeky kind of side game. It's not a fantastic, brilliant game, but it's there for a laugh, really. And the only thing for me is it feels when I'm playing it feels, because it's so rigid and simple. In one player mode, it gets a bit old because that simplicity feels the same, and it just feels like they could have added another attack. I wish they'd add something like a grenades or a smoke bomb.
It's a two button game, 2-button action game. Jump and shoot. That's all you got. So
exactly. It's just they get away with that with the environmental hazards. That you can squash coppers and all that, but it would have been nice to pick up a smoke bomb.
Yeah, smoke bomb would have been wicked.
Pick up a smoke bomb a level and chuck that. So, but generally, I think it's a good game. So, what about you, Rick?
So I think that Bonanza Brothers, the Megadrive port, is a pretty good port of the arcade game. I can't look at it as a platformer. I can't really look at it as an action game because all of the side-scrolling and 2D platformers and action games on the Mega Drive and Genesis that I do like, just I looked at this game as like a puzzle game, and then I kind of wanted to enjoy it more. It's not bad, and I like what Dan says about the environmental aspects and the cool things you can do, like zip line between buildings and stuff like that. It's pretty neat little game. It's I don't know if I'll be coming back to it very often, but
it's not an addictive game, is it? It's a break game. It's a breather game.
If you just want to chill, you got time to kill.
Yeah,
you got time to kill.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I did enjoy playing it, and I think the map aspect is cool, and I do think the tunes are pretty catchy. It's it's a good little game. Nice. I liked it.
What about you, Steve?
I don't know how often I would pick this up and play it. I mean, I hadn't played it in a long time, and you're like, oh, we're gonna review Bonanza Brothers. I'm like, oh, I smoked that game before. Let me throw it in and play it a little bit, so like everything's fresh in my mind before we talk about it. Because it's been a while, and I have it in there, and I'm like, yeah, I actually do like playing the game. It's not a bad game. I don't know if it's my first choice. I speed run this game every time I play it. You're on a timer, dude. You gotta speed run this bitch. Yeah. There's no way that you're getting through this thing if you're not, because you only have a certain amount of time to do everything. And the first couple of boards, it's pretty simple. But when you start to get in the middle of the game, towards the end of the game, you really are pushing that clock. You have to figure out what to do and make your way through. the first time that you play it, it's a little nerve-wracking in some aspects. A lot of people don't like playing games with timers. I'm one of those kind of people, but I make an exception for this because I want to figure it out. I want to figure out what do I have to do? Like, what's the combination, I need to do in this time limit? It has to be possible because, otherwise this game would, nobody would play it. It would be impossible to beat. But once you figure it out and you get through it, then and you could try to best your time, and you can absolutely turn the difficulty up on it later on and play it again, and you get a different experience out of it, just like you guys have been saying. So I mean, I think it holds up well, in some aspects. It's not the most flashy game out there. It's not the most talked about game. But the people that have played it and that it's a kind of one of those like you like it or you don't kind of games, and I've always actually kind of liked this game, like don't tell my friends, but Bonanza Brothers, I like it,
Yeah. I think we can all agree that this isn't the most high-tech game. It's not the most in-depth game. It's based on an arcade game, so it is about speed running or getting through it, etc. Going through the obstacles. Yeah. It has that level of just getting through it. I think what it was made for, it does well. That's what it is. It does what it says on the tin. I think that's basically it.
Sure.
But yes, there could have been some enhancement, like you said, like use another action button, like a smoke bomb. That could be like a stealth bit, kind of like Metal Gear Solid. We've got a stealthy bit in here. We could have done that. Maybe they could have done that on a sequel. Who knows? They didn't make a sequel to this, sadly, but it would have been cool. This game, I think, would have been good if they enhanced the game and made a sequel of it. Definitely. Maybe on even further Mega Drive hardware or even other platforms going 32-bit and beyond. I think there could have been a lot of potential for this game as a franchise, as an IP for Sega. I think that's definitely a fact. And I think, it isn't something, but I'm glad that they put it on the Mega Drive Mini too, because it's a game that I don't think a lot of people know about. It's not spoken about as much. It's not. Don't get me wrong, it's not like the best game ever on the system, but it's still definitely, I'd say it's in the top 100 on the system, in my opinion. I could be wrong in that one, but it's definitely there. So let's talk about ratings, right? What would I rate it as personally? Goodness me. I mean, like I said, I like this game. I actually love this game because of the nostalgia, because of the sentiment, because of me and my younger brother playing it. And even now today, I can still pick and play it. And it's a good time pass. I call it the time pass game, quick time game. Just to go through this. And there's a number of games like this on the Mega Drive, but this is like one of my favorite ones that I like to just run through just for fun. I would say it's a great game for young people as well. It offers a good challenge for young people. So in that context, it's great as well. The only critique, as I said earlier, is, okay, it would be nice if they had more music tracks. Another critique I think about is it would be cool if there were boss stages. That would be cool. There's no bosses on. Yeah. That would be nice. Would have added a bit of a challenge, nice varied. They could have given it a bit more polish with this game. Obviously, it's an arcade game. They might have.
I just wanted to stop you for a second. In Japan, the premise of the game is you're a robber and you're trying to rob the place.
Yeah.
The US version, the Genesis version, they have like this story they concocted that you're testing out the security system for the building. You're not actually a thief. You're trying to work out the bugs.
Well. Yeah. Although the blurb on the back of the box says Robo and Mobo, the Bonanza brothers, are the clumsiest thieves around. They're in deep trouble now, and they need your help to avoid becoming jailbirds. But so I'm wondering, there's a contradiction there on the back of the box and what's in the manual. I'm wondering what's going on here. But I think obviously they did that because they didn't want no one. They were worried. I think they were worried people would start stealing and robbing, which is stupid anyway. But we know they're thieves. We know what they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your rating, mate?
Rating. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 because yes, with all these things that we talked about, they could have made the extra effort and made it that much more better. That's the truth. But it was an arcade port. It has been scaled down, and they did make exclusive levels on it, so it does have its merits there. But I would have also liked if they enhanced the gameplay for a Mega Drive version. I mean, this game had a number of ports as well. Let's not forget there was a Atari ST, ZX Spectrum, Commodore. All the microcomputers pretty much had it. But
Commodore, I think it was on Commodore.
Yeah, Commodore had it. Amiga had it. I think X68000 had one as well in Japan. I think the PC Engine CD had one too. But anyway, look, we're talking about the Mega Drive port because that's how popular this game was. It had a number of ports. Master System had a port. I don't know if I said that, but yeah. The Mega Drive one is the one I had, and I think it's the most widely known one. But yeah, 7 out of 10. What about you, Dan? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to score it a little bit higher. I think the 2-player mode carries it quite a lot, and that is the chaotic just mess about element of that 2-player mode. I've had a lot of laughs over that over the years.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So if I had to score it a 1-player game, I'd score it a 7. But I'm going to score it a little bit higher. I'm going to score it a 7.8. Just that kind of almost nice, good game, but just not quite. It's one of them games. I see any game above 7.5 is a game that I want in my collection. That's a game that I'm going to play that again. I want it in my collection. I see a 7 as a game. I'll play it. I'll enjoy it, but I probably won't go back to it that often.
Okay.
And this is a game that I will return to, and I'll put it on. This is one of them that if me and my missus are, if we've had a shag and we're tired and we want to just chill out and play something for 10 minutes, this will go on, and then I can shout to for losing all lives. So 7.8. Okay. So what about you, Rick?
I think that I probably would have enjoyed this game a lot more if I had someone else to play with me. Playing it as a 1-player, it's enjoyable enough, but I probably would have had that extra something with a co-op game going on. So I might have scored it higher in that case, but I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 6.
6, lovely.
Okay.
-6, and Steve-O.
What do you think?
I like I said, I got a soft spot because I played this game for years. It's one of my originals, from back in the day. Not something, like I said, not something I'm going to pick up and play all the time. I have a lot of choices. I mean, as you can see back there, that's just a little bit of it, but I'm going to say like 6.8. This is 6.8 for me. It's not, it's not a 9. It's not a 10. It's not a 2 either. It's somewhere in there. It's above average in my opinion.
Okay.
And I do like it. I really do. I do like it, and I do like the figuring out part of it and that aspect. But I'm probably gonna play something else. That's a little bit more challenging at this stage in my life. That's pretty much how I see this game. But maybe one day my kid might want to play this. And we could play it together. He's just not there yet.
That gives us a group total of a very sexual 69%.
Oh my! Okay,
so 69%. So I think that's a nice, like you say, that kind of captures that feel of a game that is playable, enjoyable, but it's not going to rock your world.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say just now, Steve, I think it is a really good game for kids, definitely. Just to get them around, first playing video games and getting them around it. And that, the games we reviewed earlier, like Revenge of Shinobi and Ghouls and Ghosts, I thought, now we've got to pick something not so hard to review this time. Because Sega isn't all about that. I think everyone thinks, Sega games are so hard and all this stuff. I'm thinking, yes, Sega games do have a challenge to them. So does this game, but it's not like going to kill you. There are games for young people on the Mega Drive. Okay, and people think of Nintendo as being a kid's brand. Or a young brand, but no, Sega could do it too. Sega could do games that are accessible for everyone, even back then.
Yeah, sure.
Did this do two brothers on screen at the same time before Mario did?
No, that was 1985 or something like that. So,
you couldn't play them together, though. You couldn't play them together.
No,
you couldn't have them both on screen at the same time, could you?
No.
Could you do it on Mario Brothers? I don't know.
I think Mario World might have.
Not Mario 3, not even Mario World. It was
took turns.
It wasn't multiplayer like that. So yes, they did it before Mario did. It was a simultaneous two brothers working together, robbing a store or plays at the same time. Why couldn't Luigi and Mario save the Mushroom Kingdom at the same time instead of being turn-based?
Well, if you play the original,
Anyway.
Now, the original Mario Brothers, the very first of Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers, where you have Mario and Luigi, and like the turtles are coming down, and you have to like throw out. There's two.
Yes, that's the arcade game.
You can. Right. I didn't know that. So
yes.
Oh well.
Mario Brothers arcade game is different, but we're talking about console like Mario Brothers, and that didn't happen on the console.
Well, you can play that on the NES. It's one of the original black box releases.
Is it? All right.
You know,
there was Mario Brothers on the NES. All right, so we got schooled there. But still, this is a very different time game. But yeah, very good. So 69%, very good.
Excellent.
Well, I think that about rounds up this episode. Thank you for joining us and listening to us talk about one of our classic games, guys. For those of you who like the channel, please do like and subscribe because we're into Sega Megadrive, we're into Sega Master System. We like to review old things. But yeah, once again, thank you very much for joining us, and I think that's us for today. So that's me saying goodbye to you, and that's Rick saying goodbye to you. So SEGA!